So there's a new story out relating to the Tyson Fury and Hughie Fury performance-enhancing drug situation. And I've had a number of requests from people to discuss it on the channel. I think most likely because people are still upset about Hughie Fury pulling out of the fight with Joseph Parker, and the fact that this story has surfaced at a similar time makes people think that the two are linked. But I'm going to quote from an article written by Laurie Whittle, and it's available on dailymail.co.uk. So for those international viewers, Daily Mail is a major newspaper in Britain, one of the major ones. It's got a very mixed reputation. In certain quarters it wouldn't be considered the most reliable of sources. But nevertheless, this story seems to have sparked a bit of reaction, and as a result I've seen this supposed alleged piece of news reported in other areas as well. So without further ado, let me quote from it. The headline is Tyson Fury and Hughie Fury to blame failed drug test on eating contaminated offal, with the pair claiming to eat a whole boar between them every week. Boar as in like wild boar, pig type creature. Going into the main body of the article, Tyson Fury and his cousin Hughie are set to claim they failed drugs tests after eating vast amounts of contaminated offal, Sportsmail understands. Charges against the cousins will be heard. Sorry, police pay me a visit, obviously. Charges against the cousins will be heard by the National Anti-Doping Panel next month, with the Fury camp thought to be confident of avoiding bans. The pair will argue that they unwittingly tested positive for a banned steroid because they ate a whole boar, including its internal organs and entrails, between them each week. The Furies, Hughie 22 and Tyson 28, strenuously deny using drugs to boost their performance. Their legal team will argue that eating the liver of an animal that has been fed steroids to enhance its growth can leave traceable amounts in a human body. A farmer is set to testify that the Furies buy a boar from him each week. The case has been protracted, with both heavyweights provisionally suspended on June 24 last year after failing tests by UK anti-doping. The ban was lifted in August ahead of an NADP hearing, which is scheduled to finally take place next month. The article later goes on to say there are precedents for the Furies' pan line of defence, including Chinese, I'm not quoting directly now, including a Chinese medalist who blamed pork chocks when testing positive for steroid clenbuterol, various other instances where athletes have used this defence where they have tested positive for some sort of performance-enhancing drug, having consumed it from meat. So let's get into this. I mean, what a bizarre turn of events that we now have Tyson Fury and Hughie Fury at an anti-doping hearing with a farmer testifying that he sold the Furies a boar every week. I mean, quite literally, you couldn't make it up. But then again, you couldn't really make up most of what's happened in Team Fury in the last couple of years. You probably couldn't make up Tyson winning the World Championship. You probably couldn't make up Hughie pulling out of the Joseph Parker fight. You know, all of the craziness that's happened in between. So I guess at the minute, we're probably best off to expect the unexpected, especially when the Furies are involved. You know, but this is a far-fetched defence. You know, the idea that Tyson and Hughie were getting through whole boars on a weekly basis in order to feed themselves for their respective training camps. But there you go. I mean, in a crazy enough way, and I'm not necessarily saying I buy this, but in a crazy enough way, it's not completely unplausible. I mean, one of the things when Tyson Fury was initially testing positive for steroid, and I'm trying to remember off the top of my head which steroid it was. Bear with me, I'll run a search on it. Now, I'm not one of these boxing fans who spends hours at home building up a sort of chemistry level knowledge in terms of which drugs are which and what their effects were. But Fury failed a test for nandrolone, and a number of people who seem to have spent a far greater time than myself watching documentaries about this steroid and researching it on Google, etc., tell me that nandrolone would be a surprising steroid for the Furies to take, because there would be at least a debate about how effective it would be for a boxer with Fury's style, and it's a drug that I believe stays in the system for a very, very long period of time, and as a result, if you were looking to cheat by taking nandrolone, it wouldn't be the best one to take, because the chance of getting caught out for using it would be very, very high indeed, and as a result, you could get, it just wouldn't be a sensible way of cheating in the sport of modern day boxing. Having said that, wouldn't you also assume, that the Furies were working at a level where they had nutritionists and dietitians? They weren't going around to local farmers buying boars on a weekly basis and eating them whole, including their organs. It just seems very, very bizarre. Very, very bizarre. But there are precedents for it, as the article has suggested. There seems to be other examples where this sort of stuff has happened before. It really is. I mean, with the Furies, there's so many dramas and so many far-fetched, scenarios. Tyson Fury being on drugs. Then we have Tyson Fury's retirement from the sport. We have his several rumoured returns. Then we have him saying he was on an Irish licence, or was going to get an Irish licence, and the Irish board said no. It just gets more and more and more and more far-fetched, and now we're supposed to believe that Hughie Fury's picked up a back injury less than 2 weeks before a fight, when they were supposed to fly out to New Zealand 6 weeks ago, but didn't fly out to New Zealand for some unknown reason. And now Hughie Fury's tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs because he's been eating too much wild boar. I mean, it just kind of, it's farcical. It really is. That's not to say that it's... I can't sit here. I don't have the knowledge of any fighter in their training camp. I can't sit here and tell you that categorically it's not true, because I'm not close to it. But even if it is true, it's farcical, isn't it? I mean, what a bizarre chain of events. And I've got to say that going public about, the amount of wild boar you're eating being the reason that you're testing positive for drugs, it's not really something that's going to enhance the credibility of the Furies with the general public. I mean, I think it's fair to say at this point, even very, very long-standing Team Fury fans and supporters like myself have got to the point where not only are we kind of losing hope, but we're kind of less interested than we used to be. Hughie's been inactive for a year. He's turned down fights with Wilder, with Joshua. He's pulled out of a fight with Parker. He didn't want to fight Dillian White. It's kind of bizarre, more and more bizarre, and their credibility, I'm afraid, is dropping and dropping and dropping. And then to see the whole thing blamed on the Fury and the Fury's taste for wild boar, it's just, you kind of wonder, whatever next? What is the next drama? What is the next bizarre element of the game that's going to come up next? Now, you do wonder what's going on behind the scenes. There's certainly more than meets the eye to what's going on with Team Fury, I think. And there's always been the suggestion that the reason that Hughie's been inactive and the reason that Tyson's maybe in retirement or been inactive is because there's some blocker on their careers relating to these performance-enhancing drug tests. Now, that's pure speculation. I don't know what the state of play is, but you do wonder if this whole mess kind of links in together and all stems from these failed drug tests. Whether it's innocent or whether it's guilty, you kind of wonder if all of the other nonsense and all of the other farce that's followed it kind of links into that, and that's been the sort of catalyst for the inactivity and the bizarre behaviour, etc. But I don't know. You guys let me know your thoughts. How many of you guys, drop your comments, have sympathy for the Furies, and how many of you are inclined to believe, that this whole incident was caused by the Furies buying and consuming too much boar on a weekly basis? I wonder how charitable people are feeling today. Leave your comments in the section below. If you've enjoyed this video, or if I've broken the news to you, take the time to hit the thumbs up button. Don't be a pig. Subscribe. Thanks for watching.